Tom is going to be talking today, and afterwards we'll have the Q&A. You can post your questions in the chat also. And then we also have the bottom left corner where you see the mute button. You see a little microphone. You'll see it going up and down as it picks up sound from you. Mute that. That way, if you have the screaming squirrels that we have in the background, or howling kids, or dogs that are just having way too much fun, or a neighbor with a lawnmower, you can mitigate that sound bite for a little bit. And we'll probably go on mute during the session for all our guests, other than Tom. And over to you, Margaret. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thanks again. Welcome everybody to the call. Yes, we are live streaming, and you'll be able to find this recording on YouTube after Bernie doctors it up. That makes us all look good. Anyways, I'm Margaret Ann. I'm from Connect Ottawa, and I actually live in the Ottawa area, imagine. And we love to have you here. I have a question for you today. Are you looking for ways to increase your productivity, save time and money, and earn extra income? Well, just so you know, this is how we can help you in Connect Ottawa. We offer tools and technologies to get organized with all your tasks and projects and video calls in one place. And we also have a place that you can create or host your already prepared online courses in the new Connect Ottawa Learning Academy. Think about additional income streams. Perhaps that might be of interest today, since we sometimes hear the word recession being dropped around. And then we want to help teach you how to repurpose your content in the upcoming Connect Ottawa blog. So if you're interested in learning more about this, I am going to post the bronze membership in the chat, so you'll be able to see. And we always welcome everybody to our Thursday call from 12 to 1 to learn more. And this week, actually, on the call, we're going to be talking about the 4-day work week. So that seemed to create a bit of interest with people. We're not sure how we do it yet, but we're going to have some good conversation on that. So on that note, what we're going to do now is we are going to go around the room and have everybody do a quick introduction. Don't forget to share your information in the chat box so you can reach out to somebody, because that's what networking is. Even if it's a goal of one person, I suggest reaching out to one person after this call. And then we're looking forward to hearing to Thomas Spite today. And coaching at Hypnosis Sanctuary, I'll just leave it at that. I know I'm excited to listen to this conversation that we're going to be having. So on that note, you know what, Anna? I'm going to start with you.
Thank you, Margaret Ann. Good to see you all. I'm a business consultant as well as a SME investor, and I am based here in the now sunny Scotland. I would love to connect with any one of you and get to know you better. And I'll pop my details in the chat so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Good to see you. Thanks.
Thanks, Anna. And Mary.
Hi, my name is Mary Sloan, and I am just outside of Vancouver, British Columbia, where we actually have sun today. Yay. And I am launching a new program called Get Branded for Impact, Make More Money, and Make a Greater Difference. And if you're interested, either in talking to me about that or in being on my live show, Inspirational Influencer News, People Making a Difference, which goes live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific. You can reach out to me and I'll get some details in here so everybody can connect.
Thank you, Mary. And Radhavi.
Hey, good morning. I live in North Carolina near Asheville, and what I do is to help people to get to that place of living from inner peace. So how does that work? It starts with looking at your childhood conditioning. That's where it started, and that's unfortunately, it's what is still living in the adults today, because the children didn't know how to deal with that. So that's why I'm here on this planet. I had to work through mine first, and then with others. So I offer a 20-minute complimentary to anyone you know who feeling, there's something going on. especially nowadays. And I'm going to put my link there, and I'd love to be a podcast guest. So
Perfect.
my link will be there, and then connect with me if you'd like to. Love to
Okay.
connect with all of you.
Okay, thank you, Radavi. Great to have you here. Willie. I'm going to just
Thanks,
keep
Margaret
moving
Ann.
on. Yeah, hi.
Oh, sorry, I'm Willie. There's a William here who I may or may not know. Anyway, I'm the cop turned coach, former corporate security manager, retired police officer, and I coach people to help them find their own solutions to whatever's holding them back in their life or prevent them getting the results they really want. There's a lot more to it than that, but I'll put my details in the chat box. Please connect with me on LinkedIn and we can jack up a call sometime. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Willie. Great having you. And Sharon.
Hi, I'm Sharon Rolfe in Edmonds, Washington on the West Coast. So hi, Mary on the West Coast. I'm a retirement coach and I help people turn mundane into marvelous and find their heaven on earth joy when they align their decisions with their values on the inside.
Lovely. Well, nice to have you here, Sharon.
Thank you.
And okay, everybody else is blacked out, but I will say your name. Tanya, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tanya Hewitt. I have a company called Beyond Safety Compliance, although at the moment I am really, really hoping that I have been very kind to my immune system to be able to get me through this era of COVID. I'm sure I have one of those nasty variants that's out there right now.
Okay. Well, nice to have you. I know you weren't well last week either, so good for you for being here. William, are you there?
I am. Hi, everybody. My name is Bill Kellner. It comes up as William. That's my email address. Sorry. And also in North Carolina, like Radavi, I am outside of the greater Charlotte area on Lake Norman. So human capital management consulting is my interest and area of expertise, connecting the intersection between sound business and talent strategies. Great to be here. Thanks.
Nice to have you here, Bill. And Enrique, are you here? And Enrique, and what about Eve? And Stefan? Oh, sorry, Eve there. Okay, Eve.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I am an educator and I provide tutoring and online courses in math and languages for students from fourth grade to college. So if you have kids who need tutoring in these subjects, math, French, Spanish, yes, feel free to contact me.
Thank you.
I'm also in LinkedIn. You can also be connected.
Okay, so everybody don't forget, drop your contact information into LinkedIn. And Bernie, what about you?
I don't know who I am today. I'm Bernie Fransgrote, creative insight consultant, B2B connections, people-to-people connections, actually. I can keep going. We're not going to do that. It's not about me. And Margaret Ann, over to you.
Okay, and Stefan, are you there?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here. Sorry for the webcam doesn't work today.
That's okay.
So my name is Stephen John. I am Toronto based. I am one of the original gangsters at Connect Ottawa. I'm in charge of all the IT infrastructures and services, and I am here to support any consultant, coaches, entrepreneur at Connect Ottawa to run their courses online on Connect Ottawa Academy with the bronze membership. I put some information in the chat if you guys want to connect with me, have more information, one-to-one discussion, demo, and then look towards a bronze membership. I'm here to do the guiding tour.
There you go. Okay, perfect. Look at that. It is 1:15. Thomas, do you like that? I said 1:15 we start. So right now we're going to pass this over to Bernie to introduce our dynamic speaker today. So take it away, Bernie.
Oh, thank you, Margaret Ann. So folks, allow me to introduce Thomas Spect. He's originally from Poland and he began his coaching career during his medical career. He had a vast majority of patients that were being cured of cancer, some with less unfortunate moments, limited life expectancy, and desperate families in need of support. And he had to learn it by mastering empathy and linguistic skills, a baptism by fire, so to speak. And then one point is, how do you coach or look after the psychological needs of a 5-year-old who knows they are dying of cancer? His further training took him to the UK. He has a British medical degree. He was a surgical trainer in Leicester, Bristol, Glasgow, Cleveland Clinic, and in Ohio. It led him to the position of a consult cardiac surgeon and professor of cardiovascular surgery. After becoming a consultant, he's also the trainer of surgeons and demanding the coaching and mentoring skills. Then he had a breakthrough in 2006. He completed his neuro-linguistic practitioner course. He's acquired fundamental knowledge of communication, how it can be used to the advantage of his patients then and now. After retirement, he is trained extensively in life coaching, NLP, and hypnosis. And his goal is to help those who are in the need of overcoming obstacles in their life. Thomas, over to you, sir.
Thank you. Brilliant introduction. Thank you so much. Right. I'm going to talk not for long about something what most people don't know about. This is about the 3 principles. It's a term coined by a Canadian philosopher called Sydney Banks. Sydney Banks was born in Scotland. He was uneducated and worked in Glaswegian shipyard until shipyards ran out of work, and he emigrated to Canada, where he continued to work as an unskilled worker in the pulp mill. And he had enlightenment. And he coined this term, the 3 principles. So let's start with what is the principle. Oh, principle is a rule. A rule which explains how things work. And the rule is constant. It doesn't change. It's not a belief. It's not a concept. It's not an idea. It's not a model. It's a constant. And a good metaphor for what I'm talking about is a principle of gravity. It always works, without any exemption. So the 3 principles are about to explain how life works. It's not a prescription. I'm not telling you what you should be doing or how you should be seeing the world. It is how we all do. The all 7.7 billion of us on this planet experience life exactly the same way, regardless of age, gender, race, culture, religion, language. It doesn't matter. In this respect, we all do exactly the same. So what are the 3 principles? The first one is the principle of mind. Difficult to explain. If somebody asks you, tell me, what's the mind? You would have very own difficulty to describe it. The second principle is the principle of consciousness. What is it? Very difficult to describe as well. The third one is the principle of thought. Or could you explain what's the thought? Another one, impossible really to explain. We all know what all 3 terms mean, but it's really very difficult to define what they mean. Well, one of the best metaphors to illustrate what I'm talking about, we all remember the first time we went to the cinema, either with parents or older siblings. And as all young children do, they are very curious, where are these pictures coming from? And eventually we turned back and we saw this white flickering light. This is our mind. Now, the screen is a consciousness. in psychology, even modern psychology, it says we were either conscious or unconscious. It's not quite true. Consciousness has got an infinite number of levels, and I will explain this in a minute. And the picture on the screen is a good metaphor for a thought. So, talking about consciousness, what I mean is a infinite number of levels, because you can look at consciousness as a lift, a glass lift outside a skyscraper. And this lift is moving up and down all day long. And when we look through the glass on the ground floor, like quite often it doesn't look that nice. Busy, lots of people. There's a lot of dust, maybe some dirt around, some rubbish flying. But then the lift goes up, because it always does. And when you look through the window on the 30th floor, it looks all right. Has anything changed outside? No. It's exactly the same world. When is it important to understand, and why is it important to understand that the consciousness has got so many levels? Because quite often we go to bed in a bad mood, or we wake up in a bad mood. And if we remember that the glass lift of our consciousness is going to go up, we know that we don't have to do anything about it, our bad mood, because it's going to pass. It's just going to pass. We can influence mood by getting in touch with nature, which means often simply enough to go for a walk or listen to the music. And there's another explanation for this, which I might have enough time to go back to. Now, when you look at the screen in the cinema, you are watching different films. Some are funny and we laugh. Some are sad and we may even cry. Some are designed to frighten us. And what it is, the picture on the screen, a thought, will create a feeling. And what psychologists to this day don't seem to be able to accept the central position, central role of thoughts in our lives. Because there's no feeling without the thought first. So when somebody comes to me and says, well, can you help me? I've got this terrible anxiety and then it really interferes with my life. I said, yes, I understand. And of course I can deal with it, either by means of an LP or even hypnosis. That's easy. But if I do that, they're going to come back again with something else, and something else again, until they understand that it is only a thought which created the feeling. Now, the importance of it is that feelings always result in an action. And remember that no action is also an action. And every action has got its consequences. And that's why it's so important. That's why the position of the thought in our life is so central, so fundamentally important to all of us. So there's plenty of coaches who talk about a mindfulness coach, which the term itself is just contradictory, because if you want the peace, you don't want to have your mind full of thoughts. Quite opposite. But how to control the thoughts? You may say, well, yes, but can I control my thoughts? can I have a good thoughts or not? No, you can't. All thoughts are neutral. And on average, we would get about 10 to 30,000 thoughts a day. They are all neutral to start with. Our level of consciousness, to what I've said to you, our mood, will make thoughts either positive or negative. Okay, so let's say that you're in a bad mood and the thought came to, and it's not a nice thought. What to do with it? Well, we have got the power not to engage with thought which we see or perceive as a negative thought. Now, how to do it? Several examples how to do it. For most of us, particularly in the type of work you do, we use phones all the time. We look at the LinkedIn, sometimes on the Facebook, maybe on Instagram. And what we do, we just look at the messages. And we spend usually 2-3 seconds. If something is interesting, we continue. If not, we scroll. So when it comes to your thought which you don't like, keep on scrolling. You're not going to become suddenly, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have any thoughts. Next thought is going to come straight away. The different way of illustrating how to get rid of thoughts which are unpleasant is when you drive a car. And most of us listen to music. Some of songs, some of pieces of music we like, and some we don't. And there are two ways of dealing with when we hear something we don't like listening to. We either turn the volume down. You can do exactly the same with a thought. Or even better, we just change the radio station. And that's how you deal with thoughts you don't want to. So as I said to you, it's not a prescription how you should live your life. It is a description how life works. The implications of it are enormous. One of the most important for any of us, not only for a coach, whatever sort of coach it is, including business coaches, is the ability to understand. Most of us are preoccupied, listen to an answer. But there's a different way of listening. Some people, there's a very famous American psychologist, Jack Pransky, who wrote a lot on the subject of 3 principles. But let's, just if any of you was interested to read more about it. So, what we can do when we listen? Well, listening to understand means to ask when we don't understand something. The effect of it is profound on the speaker, because they suddenly realize, well, the person is interested. There's no better connection between humans as to be interested in another person. Some people call it curiosity. If you want to establish connection with a stranger, it's enough to express some curiosity. Ask, what are you reading? Where are you going? When we meet on long flights or traveling by train. That's how people start conversations. Now, so asking somebody the question when we don't understand not only makes them feel important, they are considered to be interested, but also allows them to rephrase whatever they said to make it simpler. And is always appreciated. Sometimes that sort of deep listening is illustrated by two examples when it happens absolutely naturally. The first example is of the young mother whose baby starts crying. And of course, baby cannot speak, so still, mother is able to recognize whether the baby is hungry or needs a change of diaper or is just frustrated. The second situation, when we listen to understand, we are fascinated by the other person, is at the beginning of romantic relationship. We just are curious about the other person. We want to understand them. So this is one of many examples. Understanding of the three principles is one thing. What you are likely going to find, as I did, is to follow what they are, because it requires some discipline not to engage, for instance, with the painful memories from the past, memories which bring a feeling of regret, feeling of loss. And sometimes it's okay for us to engage with that sort of memories. Sometimes we may choose to do that. I spend a lot of my time working with British veterans. And a lot has been written on PTSD since the Vietnam War. And it's really fascinating reading why PTSD happens in some groups of people and it doesn't happen in other groups of people in certain conflicts. Like, for instance, the war in Afghanistan and Iraq did not produce as many cases of PTSD as the war in Vietnam. So there are marked differences, and some wars did not produce any PTSD. Example of it is interesting enough Israel, probably because the whole country is on the alert of being at war. So the soldiers who even experience the trauma in the battlefield, they are accepted back into the community which understands this. And the incidence of PTSD is extremely low, like in 1-2%, while amongst the Vietnam veterans was as high as 30%. Now, as I said, these are fundamentals of what is essential for all of us to know. Why it is so important. I also work with inmates. Well, that's quite interesting. People who start following the three principles, there is what happens is the remarkable reduction in the incidence of assaults, homicides, increase in employment, reduction in school suspensions, increase the parental involvement in schools, 84% reduction in the incidence of anxiety, 70% reduction in depression, 85% increase in a positive relationship. So that is why it is helpful. This is why it is helpful to understand that all change comes from inside, never from outside, only from inside. For the first time in history, the understanding offers psychological constants or principles how the mind works. And is not based on theories. Since the death of Sigmund Freud, 400 theories were created. And as said, it is constant. William James, known as father of American psychology, predicted, he lived in the 19th century, predicted that when we find foundation laws or principles behind human functioning, it could evolve humanity more than since humans discovered fire. In the last sentence, I wish somebody told me. Somebody should have told us. Nobody told us because our parents didn't know and our teachers didn't know. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Thomas. Yes, a little clap here I saw from Mary. Where did you go? Sorry, I displayed the screen now in gallery so we can all see each other. Okay, I'm going to make the first comment. I really enjoyed it. And one of the things I'm just going to keep taking home, thoughts you don't like, keep scrolling, turn down the volume, and change the station. I really like those 3 simple steps. So on that, nice to see you, Alexander. Does anybody have any comments, questions, or Thomas, did you want to put a question out to the audience? We'll take it from there. Bernie, have you got something, Bernie?
Radvia does.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought I'd just ask you first. Okay, Radvi, go ahead.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that I really enjoyed Thomas because it was about consciousness. And another thing, it was about you can't change the situation from the outside. You gotta go inside. And those are the principles that I really see that Thomas brings forward. And I acknowledge you, Thomas, for the depth of consciousness that you live from.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a comment? You can just put your hand up. I see you've left everybody in deep thought here, and we have a lot of coaches and great thinking. So Bernie, I can't tell with you. Were you going to say something?
Why I was, but Willie's put his hand up, and I'm going to let Willie, because he sounds better than I do.
Let Willie go first. Okay.
His accent's much better than mine.
Thank you, Bernie. And thank you, Thomas, for your insights there. I've had the pleasure of already speaking to Thomas. We have a lot of training in common, and I am aware of the 3 principles. I do like the analogy that the thought or the story or the movie is what's in our head. The consciousness is the screen on which it's projected, and the mind is projecting it onto the screen. But the crux of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, is one doesn't have to engage with a thought. I actually speak to my clients, and if they have bad thoughts, I ask them to name them, give them a name. Some of the names I can't repeat. because if they're bad thoughts, they get bad names. But it's a very effective tool. We don't have to engage with a bad thought. We can say, okay, Mr. Bad Thought, I'm busy today, I'm not having it. Not as easy said than done, but with a bit of discipline, it can be done. So thank you, Thomas. I'm happy to talk to anyone else about this because I find it absolutely fascinating. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Willie.
Alexandra, go ahead. You're on mute though. You'll have to do that part yourself.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Now
There we go.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks.
Thomas, thank you very much for your speech. And first of all, I'd like to thank you. Thank you for your service, because you just mentioned that you work with veterans and it's a huge job that you're doing. And what I wanted to say that based on my experience, that the huge percentage of PhD comes from civilian reaction on people who were in battle or in just different dangerous situations, kind of live or die kind of situations. And very often people do not understand those people, especially when those veterans come to different companies to work. So, and when they see that big mess, what's going on there, so they're, let's say, their mood going down and the percentage of PhD just increasing. People just don't know what to do. They're just so mad because of what's going on there. You know about the situation. So this is what I just wanted to mention based on my own experience. And thank you once more for your service.
And thanks,
Anna.
Alexandra. Okay, Anna has got a question. Got her hand up.
Yes, I do actually, because it's very interesting. Thank you very much for the pictures on understanding those three elements. I'm not quite sure I've grasped all of them, but I will try my best. The picture you gave with the elevator, is that to be compared to the view that we choose to have of the world, where we sort of either positive or looking at the dirt all the time, or what is that comparable to? I'm not sure I got the right picture of that one. The elevator with the glass windows, you could look out on the different levels.
It's a bit of metaphor for our state of mood, which keeps on changing. And really what I'm saying is that sometimes we, for no reason, we are in a bad mood. And you experience it as everybody else. And then without doing anything, our mood will go up as the lift goes up. And that's really what is the essential value of this particular metaphor. We don't need to do anything. The mood will change. We may, and there are, as I said, two ways. Contact with nature, because it's genetic requirement of all humans. When the human race started some 250,000 years ago, we were not living in the big cities or even villages. So that's why genetically we are prepared to live in the nature. The second is music. And talking about music, what is interesting actually, that we are all used to the heartbeat of our mother. That's the only sound we had for 9 months to start with. And that's the explanation why the music is so important in our life, and particularly rhythm as such, percussion, drums. That's why all cultures actually love drums, wherever you turn. So there are two ways of influencing our mood, if possible, of course.
And Radhavi?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I just looked at the time and I'm going to have to leave soon. I have a 2 o'clock, but I wanted to say that the place from which I serve people is from the other side of the coin. What do I mean by that? When they're in a bad mood, when they're having upsets, those are the ones I allow them to bring it, because we're in this field of consciousness and love. And so in my own experience from the 30 years of working with people, through my own personal experience too, is the imprints are left in the body and they are alive. Whether we recognize it or not, it's running the show a lot. And so it's about going into the place where these imprints commonly from our childhood started. And when that is released, there is such magic and so much changes that I'm humbled with that. So that's what I wanted to say before I run out. So thank you so much, Thomas, for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Radavi. Okay, so this has been you know what? There's so many people I see in this call are probably in line with a lot that Thomas says. We have a lot of coaches, mindfulness and stuff. So any other comments there that people would like to share with Thomas? Feedback?
So Tom,
no, Radavi's leaving. Okay, yeah, Bernie?
So Tom, to get that awareness out, because our parents and our teachers have not relayed that, the kind of those core pieces of information, what is the recommended path for us to take to make that a shared piece of information?
I gradually got interested in it, and I started to read original reading books by Sydney Banks. I don't think are as good as interpretation made by two psychologists in particular. The one is Jack Pransky, and the book I would recommend is both as a book and in audio format. Some might prefer. It's called, I don't need to write it because it's impossible to forget, Somebody Should Have Told Us. And the other one is Michael Neal, very famous coach, also psychologist. And he wrote a book which makes it very simple to anyone interested, also available in audio format, which is called Inside Out Revolution. Again, very easy to remember the title. And these two are words. And if anybody who is interested, I know that Willie has already read both, then you will gradually start expanding your knowledge. And for any coach, you might be interested to know that there is something like a 3P global community. And it's good actually to become a member of it, because there are monthly meetings where people can observe coaching using the 3 principles. And that's really very useful. You don't have to participate in any sort of conversation. You can switch off your camera and just relax and listen. And eventually you will pick up, from time to time, you will pick up something which will be of additional value to your work as a coach.
Nice. Do you have links for that, Thomas, by chance, that you could put in the chat box?
Yes, of course I can.
Thank you. Another thing that I liked that I thought was a key point, description of how life works. And there is nothing better than interest in another person. And, I love that. I'm a very big believer communication is the key to success. We can't help what we don't know. And the conversation is how we get it there. So I really like that. And that you're right. They call it by all sorts of things these days. So it's the interest, it's curiosity, asking questions, really taking things to the next level so you can see who you have connections with. So I appreciated that. And I'll just mute myself for a moment. Anybody else have another comment or feedback? We have time still for a couple more.
Go ahead,
okay,
Alexander.
Go ahead.
Thomas, I have a question. What do you think, what is the biggest challenge for leaders these days? And I will tell you what I'm looking for to see in your answer. We have a lot of great people who are good managers, but not all of them good leaders. What do you think their biggest challenge is? How they can connect to their people and lead them, not just to manage?
I would go back to really what we're talking about. We just listen to understand them. Just listen to understand, not to answer.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. But they listen, but they do not understand. This is the point. They just understand processes. They do not understand how to inspire people, empower them, and lead them. So this is the biggest problem what I discovered for those people. They have great personality. They very smart, but they just maybe they able to do that, but they just don't do that. And they learn in universities a lot of stuff about leadership, about management, but they don't apply those knowledge.
No.
Thank you.
So is there, Thomas, is there a way then for someone who is in a managerial, is getting elevated, or someone who's about to enter in that space, or even be a teacher, right? Where they have to get their head wrapped around the three principles, right? The three components. Is that through the 3PGC group, or just start reading the books that you were talking about earlier?
I would say the 3PG is more useful for coaches.
Okay.
To learn about what I'm talking about, or I've been talking about, is good enough to both books by Michael Neal and Jack Pransky are very easy to comprehend, quite short. And there's the number of quite a lot of you may have still teenagers at home, or your grandkids are going to become teenagers, and it's like if somebody comes from school in a bad mood, the worst thing you can do is why are you in a bad mood? Because not only they are going to, in their mind, going to justify why they are in a bad mood. And what you are going to get is a tirade of verbal abuse in reply. Why do they do it? Well, one of the two things which all humans, or would say apes or chimpanzees, we share 98% of genetic code. It's a requirement for security. We all desperately need security. And if the child comes from a school and somebody, maybe teacher, maybe friends, somebody bullied a person, undermine the sense of security, they come home in a bad mood. You can't do anything about bad mood. Just let them go, shut the bedroom, and they will come out when they become hungry. And when they come out, then you will be able to ask the question, what happened to you? and they will answer. Because it's absolutely superb question. Somebody who suffered some trauma, somebody who is able to live misusing alcohol only just because that's the only way they can survive, actually. A reality which they don't like. The question, what happened to you, you are going to find it very helpful. Even in a daily conversation, you're going to see how often you can use it.
I love it. Okay, I want to go back and thank Thomas very much for joining us today. We're going to, as everybody's in deep thought, I'm going to pass it over to Bernie to share what's coming up next week on our session.
Absolutely. Thank you, Margaret. So we are going to do, we have a Thursday session coming up, and that's the mastermind. And then next week we have business improvements through efficient process design. And that is through Jovan Sterka from Elastlink, and he's talking about how do you scale up? How do you scale up your business and growing? You know, you're getting somewhere, and now all of a sudden someone's turned on the fire hose, and you're getting more than you can handle. And you know, before you have to have that mindfulness piece activated, you should have a structure in place, because then everything stays calm. That's coming up. And 5 minutes after the hour, you'll see a survey coming out. If you've elected not to receive future emails, you will get an email because you arrived here for that survey. And the other important part is save the chat. So those three little dots, bottom right-hand corner of the box, open the chat. You see the smiley face, you see the three dots, hit save chat. And that way you retain the information. If you've missed out, get a hold of me and I'll have a copy of it. Over to you, Margaret.
Perfect. Okay. And as Bernie was mentioning, Thursday from 12 to 1, I'm going to do another little plug. We're going to be talking about the 4-day work week. I don't know if it's possible or not, but if you want to engage in some good conversation and figure out some tips and tricks and maybe some technologies that can help you save time, we invite you to join us. So I'll put the link there. And I'm just going to suggest that you follow that link on LinkedIn. That's where we're going to be directing all our traffic to. We have a Connect Ottawa LinkedIn business page, and that's where we also update and input our events. So stay tuned there. And Thomas, I want to thank you again. Off the top of your head, what would you like to leave this audience with today?
The central message of what I was saying is appreciate the central importance of the thought in our lives.
Well, I myself, thank you very much. I have taken lots of notes. I thought it very thought-provoking and in-depth. Love our conversation before. So Thomas has put his information, I believe, in the chat box. So you should connect with him if you have more, and I know some of you have already. And on that note, though, I'm going to wish you all a great week. Hope to see you Thursday, and take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.